The Signal from Tolva is a game that I would dearly love to tell you lives up to its promises of mystery, gunplay, and robot management in a way that feels rounded and satisfying. Unfortunately though, it falls short of delivering an experience that wraps these concepts up into a package that sticks, and what is a promising concept gets lost in its execution. Before we get into that though, let's take a look at the game itself. The premise and concept of the game is promising. It piqued my interest as soon as I read it on Steam. A mysterious signal emanates from a planet called Tolva. As an explorer, you take remote control of robots on the planet's surface, using their chassis to investigate an alien world and supposedly uncover the mystery of the signal. It sounds intriguing, and it is, a solid foundation on which to build gameplay. As such, you'll be taking control of a robot in first-person mode. I would call the game a first-person shooter, and in part it is, but long swathes of the game will have you trekking across the planet, investigating important sites and interacting with labyrinthine puzzles, so it's definitely not an FPS in the traditional sense, and you'll be doing more than just shooting. As you explore the surface of Tolva, you'll activate spawn beacons and bunkers, both of which create new robots to control should your current one perish, and the latter of which houses a terminal at which you can upgrade gear and equipment. You'll also collect scrap in your travels, the currency by which you purchase upgrades to your weapons and armor. The last element of exploration involves interacting with story objects within the game. These mostly come in the form of scannable objects which hold snippets of data concerning the world. Gameplay-wise, you'll spend much of your time trekking the planet and combating enemies, and it's really here that things start to unravel. To begin with, trekking across the world quickly becomes a chore. There's been no attempt to spice up the movement system with a dash or jetpack, and it's a feature I think this game sorely needs. Without it, you feel stuck to the ground, unable to traverse the environment quickly and meaningfully. There is a fast travel mechanic between locations you've already discovered, but this does little to cut down on the monotony of travel you will experience. The second main thing you'll be doing is combating enemies. The guns are interesting in design, and enemies die with a satisfying explosion. There's also a temporary shield you can activate to mitigate incoming damage, and an area of effect ability which can be customized to damage, heal or stun enemy and friendly robots. It's a thought out system, and it definitely gets the job done. The game also advertises that you can recruit AI robots to fight alongside you, and it's this mechanic that causes problems in combat. To understand why this is a problem though, we need to talk about the equipment overall. At the beginning of the game, you're allowed to equip and carry 2 weapons. Indeed, the game itself offers up 2 weapon types to use, a long-range semi-automatic rifle and a medium to close-range assault rifle. These are the only 2 classes of weapon available, and all the different weapon upgrades are just different iterations of that class. Bizarrely, in order to equip the robot recruitment tool, you need to use one of your weapon slots. This means that you'll only be able to carry 1 weapon type with you. Why the developers made this choice is beyond me. Only being able to use 1 weapon drastically decreases the variety of the gunplay and results in combat that repeats itself over and over. The robot recruitment tool definitely feels like it should have been an addition to the combat, but ends up feeling more like a restriction. Ordering the robots is done via the tool as well, so quickly commanding your robots in combat is not an option, as you would have to swap out your weapon for the inept tool and make yourself vulnerable in the process. The AI robots are weak too, like really weak. It didn't take much for them to end up exploding, and there's no real way to see their health either, so using the area of effect heal power on them is a matter of luck, rather than skill and timing. After using the robots a couple of times, it quickly felt like a lackluster gimmick, and I swapped out the tool for a weapon instead. The mystery storyline that the game promises also falls flat once you start playing. When I hear the word mystery, what I expect is a whodunit atmosphere. I expect story elements that continually offer questions and clues as to the origin of some particular phenomenon. The signal from Tolva certainly promotes itself that way, but apart from the short introductory cutscene and the overhanging mystery of the signal, the game quickly devolves into a walk-em-up exploration game, reminiscent of No Man's Sky. As promising as the concept of the signal is, scanning for objects using an alternate vision spectrum and reading different snippets of information does not a mystery make. When it comes to graphics in games, I really only expect 2 things. The first is that it gets the job done. They don't have to be the prettiest graphics in the world, but I do expect a game's visuals to complement the game's storyline and help situate the player within a certain world and atmosphere. Here the developers have done a wonderful job. The world of Tolva feels like another planet, and is at times absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, the second thing I expect from a game's visuals is that they perform well and are optimized for gameplay. Here, the signal from Tolva once again underperforms. Often in the most beautiful areas, I encountered a huge drop in frames per second. The performance is a bit up and down, and definitely drew me out of the experience from time to time, rather than drawing me in. I told you at the beginning that I would dearly love to tell you that the signal from Tolva is a great game, and I still do. Its concept, its atmosphere, its graphics all promise so much. But ultimately though, I think the game fails to deliver on the promises it itself makes. That being an intriguing mystery, AI robot recruitment and management, and FPS action. As such, I cannot recommend this game, not at its current price. As far as indie titles go, it's definitely on the more expensive side, and not worth the money it demands. I give the signal from Tolva a 5 out of 10.